Hi, this is Mike Maloney, and I was on the Fed's website going over some charts, and I looked at the real gross domestic product as a percent change from a year ago. So this is what percentage has the economy grown or shrunk as compared to 1 year ago, and this is quarterly data. And one of the things that we're seeing here is that it's not growing nearly as fast here on this last report. It's only growing at 1.22%, which is really anemic. But the highest this gets is up to about 3% here. Now, what I find interesting is if you go all the way back to just after World War II, here it was growing at 13%. And back in the 40s, right when World War II ended, the rebound from the previous recession was 18%. And so what we're seeing here is as we get deeper and deeper into debt, the growth is less and less. Here we have 6.8% roughly, and then a recession and a rebound that's up at 7.7%, and down in the 2%, 3% area here. So probably around a 5 or a 6% growth here and a 7% or 8% growth here. And then again, a peak of 9.2%, and here we have peaks that get into the 7s and the 8s in this great expansion that we had during the 1960s. And in the 70s, 7.5% was the peak. So the average here was probably 5, maybe 6% between these. And then it starts to drop down. After the 80s and the 90s, it grew at 8.5%, but then the growth became much more anemic. So you have an average here where it's probably around 4% for this growth, and then this one probably averages around 3% because it's got troughs in here at 2% and so on. And then this one probably averages around 2.5 or 3%. And then this last one is the weakest recovery that there has been. The peaks only go up into the 3% range, and then you get down to 1% basically. And what's interesting here is you can see the effect of QE1 lifted this, and then QE2, and then QE3. After they stop the QE, it shrinks back each time. And so we're seeing this down at levels where recessions usually begin. One of the things to note here is that the gray line, this bar here, usually starts somewhere just under this 2.5% region. So once it falls below about 1.5%, we start going into a recession. But without exception here, a recession always starts before this thing hits bottom. So we're already down at these levels where all of these other recessions have happened before. I think that we don't have a whole lot longer left for this expansion. I've pointed out many times that this expansion now, this white area, is the third longest expansion in history. This one is the second longest expansion, and this one right here is the longest expansion in history. So we're way overdue already for another recession. And with all the manipulation and things that they have done to the economy, this one is probably going to be bad. That's my opinion. And if you got anything from this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.